Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Monday, February the 3rd, 2025. Well, I was taken aback when I got wind of this. Jack Brennan is gone, or the actor we know and love as Jack Brennan, the actor that had to grow on us, because he grew on me as Jack Brennan, whose name is Charles Mesure. He exited the role. The last time that we were going to ever see him, y'all, was Thursday. That's it. Him and Carly kissing, getting ready to hit the sheets. That was it. I think it'll be tomorrow, Tuesday the 4th. We're going to see the new Jack Brennan. And the new Jack Brennan is Chris McKenna. Chris used to play a young Joey on One Life to Live, and he's done some other stuff, but he is stepping into the role of Jack Brennan. And I'm like, oh, that Jack Brennan had really good chemistry with Carly. He and Laura Wright just meshed very, very well. And I'm like, oh no, now we have to get used to someone else stepping in now that they've done the deed, and this person's going to be Jack. Now, when you look at them, to facially, there's a close enough, I would say, not resemblance, but at least they didn't just go completely off the mark. Have blonde hair. Well, the other guy kind of had, well, no, that was kind of silver hair, but they didn't go off the mark with this guy as Jack Brennan. He's not black haired like Sonny, you know, died actually. But anyway, we shall see. One of the things that made this actor playing Jack, which was Charles Mesure, I loved his accent. I loved it. It kind of reminded me of Jax's accent. I love his accent, right? Well, from what I could tell, he chose to exit the role. And I think I read a little blurb, and you never know how much of this little blurb stuff you read, but it was from a reputable soap source, to where when he took on the role of Jack, he was a little apprehensive, but he took it, and he was apprehensive because of the fact it was the soap arena. They have to memorize so much more than other TV shows. And they're working so much more than other TV shows. So he was worried if he could keep up at 53, but I guess just his version of I've already done X, Y, and Z, and I didn't look up all his credits, but he didn't want to be, truly that deep into soaps or that type of acting. And he says once they decided that Jack is he's a leading man now, contract on General Hospital, that it was going to be a little much for him. Kudos to knowing your limits. I appreciate that, you know, because Jack Brennan, you could tell, is going to have a strong presence in Port Charles. So it has to be somebody that wants to do it. I mean, we have poor Maurice Bernard, Sonny, who plays the character of Sonny. He really wants to retire. But the show is so pivotably around him that how can he? And that's unfortunate. They're going to have to either recast or kill him off, or I don't know what they're going to do. It needs to be a smooth transition. Like I said, to me, the best way would be Miss Wu taking over with ironclad protections in place to where she's going to make sure his family is a safe zone, all of his family. He's a safe zone, you know, meaning nothing could happen to him. And he could be like a not an advisor, but agree to let you do you. Just don't bring no trouble to my house. Okay. I could see that. But anyway, so that's what I wanted to start talking about first is that handsome Charles Mashur. Mm, mm. Gone. I'm going to miss him. I'm truly going to miss him. So let me get into what happened today on GH. Right. Sonny comes to see Alexis. And he just wanted to make sure she was okay with now hearing the news that Sam was murdered. And when she started talking to him, the first thing she said is, I know Christina told you. How is she doing? How does she seem to you? And he goes, Christina will be okay. He said, I didn't come here to talk about Christina. And she looked at him. He says, I came here to see how you're doing and talk about how you're handling it. And she gave the typical, well, can I'm Alexis, the attorney, answer. I can handle everything. And he goes, Alexis, this is me. I want to know how you're doing. And that's when she broke down. And she let him know, I'm not doing well. Now to know that my daughter was randomly just targeted for she just she needed to vent to him and he allowed her to. And he hugged her. I mean, she embraced she was holding on to him for dear life. Just dear life. It was almost like he was holding her up. Okay. He was giving her some of his strength, some of his weakened heart strength, but some of his strength. And when they were about to stop embracing, she like, okay, okay. And she had turned and she took her compact out and it showed her like making sure her face was right. And she turned around like, okay, you know what? I'm back in action. I needed that. Thank you for letting me pour my heart out, for letting me just be me, right? And not have to be strong. And she goes, okay. And now, now, okay, I'm okay. Let's get. I was choking earlier, y'all. You could tell. When you choke, it takes your voice an hour or more to get back together again. I've got a trusty dusty cough drop in here. But I'm still clearing my throat constantly. So anyway, as Sonny was getting ready to leave, somebody knocks on the door and it's Laura. And she speaks to Sonny and she tells Alexis that James Sidwell. And she goes, I want to get some information on James Sidwell. And Sonny looks at Laura. Laura looks at him. Oh, he's in Port Charles. He bought Windermere. He plans on being here. And so Lori says, well, I mean, not Laura. Alexa says, yeah, I had to turn over some paperwork, paperwork for Windermere. And so she goes, so the Cassadine estate, sold Windermere to Sidwell. And she goes, no, no, a independent developer bought it. They were the ones the actual you know, the actual transaction went through, but there was some title uh information that the Cassadine state. It was, delicate the way they had to handle it. So I was just the mediator in that. Because remember, that developer ran out of money. And the Cassadine estate was still probably the lien holder of it. So yeah, they brokered that, peaceful transfer of title and got their money. Okay. So anyway, Sonny kind of looked, and you could tell. I mean, he was trying to keep it together. He didn't want his heart. He didn't want to get excited. He didn't want to flare up. So he told Alexis and Lori, he says, "Listen, I've got to go because I'm going out of town for a few days on business, and I really have to get going." So he says, "Alexis," she goes, "Thank you so much for our conversation. Thank you." And he goes, "If you or Christina need anything, don't hesitate to call me." She says, "Okay." So he goes, "Laura," and he leaves. And he gets outside the office. And now he's got his pills in one of those little, like a silver mint case, like they could be mints, right? He had to pop one of them pills in to continue to keep himself calm. Because in reality, he's like, because he goes, Jen Sidwell tried to kill Jason and Anna. He told Alexis that. She's like, what? So anyway, he's thinking, I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, did this son of a bomb my place? And it's why my son's in the hospital? He's like, okay, poor Charles has a new threat, but Sonny knows he is in no shape to face it. He's going to have to get out of Dodge, get on the right medication. They may have him come back saying he had a little minor procedure, right? To get strong again. Because in the condition he is in, he can't take on any new rival mob bosses, criminal masterminds, anything. Realistically, he can't even take on Cyrus right now. Realistically. So I hope he's out of Dodge the rest of the week, get well, because they in soaps they have magical procedures and people are up and running the next day. So Curtis came to talk to Kai, and he just told him a little bit of his experience, you know, and how he got shot by the random bullet and blah blah blah. And Kai said, "Well, obviously, because he goes, I was in a wheelchair for the better part of a year." He goes, "Well, obviously something happened. You're not in one now." And he goes, "No, there was a miracle procedure that I underwent." And so Kai says, "Well, I have a cracked vertebrae, and if I step back on the field and I get hit wrong, I could be paralyzed." And so Curtis says, "Okay, that's a definite reality. But now, you need to know how you're going to choose to handle that reality." He goes, "Now, I'm not going to come in and tell you everything's going to be fine, tell you there's so much more, there's other things you can do." He goes, "Because I already know your mindset isn't on that. I already know because I've been there." He said, "It wasn't you and I, our conditions weren't the same, but it's your mind, your determination. It's kind of like your grit." And he was saying that I was not into to college football, but Trina started watching it. He says, "And I saw you do some amazing things." He said, "You were more than just a football player." Because he goes, "I held on to the ball too long, and that's how I got." He goes, "You were spectacular in that game. It was just unforeseen what was going to happen to you. And so Kai's friend, who's also on the team, the one he was with when he met Trina, oh, he was giving Trina the what for? You're the one that broke Kai's concentration. Then he started thinking about you. He used to be all about football, and then he started talking about art. It is all your fault. And Trina's like, oh, it's not all my fault, you know. And she goes, he's more than just football. He goes, that's the thing. He wasn't more than just football. He was laser focused until you got in his head. And she's just, and so she told him, snapped back at him and everything, but it kind of got her thinking. And from what I didn't fast forward with Trina, watching the game and everything else, when Kai was playing football, when Kai was in the game, he wasn't thinking about no Trina. He was thinking about winning. He was thinking about doing what he does. So that wasn't true, what the guy said. That wasn't true, but you got to have somebody to blame, right? And he wanted to place the blame on Trina because he says, you talk about he's more than just a football player. He goes, he was more than just a football player. He was our leader. Or actually Curtis, I think, said that he was the leader of the team. He inspired them. But the guy said he led us. The guy did say it too. I think Curtis and the guy, because that's his ability, the leader ability. Well, from what I understand about football, which is this much, is the quarterback is kind of the coordinator and the lead of the team, right? And Kai was a good quarterback. So anyway, that story is going to continue. My guess is everybody, as in soaps can be, General Hospital can be, there's going to be a miraculous surgery in a year that he's going to undergo treatment, and he will actually be able to walk again. So that's just something else that we'll be watching. We'll that miracle cure, and watch Trina be the one. Nah, maybe her mom, because Portia was the one that found that clinical trial unsubstantiated thing for Curtis. She'll be the one to find it for Kai, but it'll be a good year before that happens. He's going to have to transition into life as a regular college student, because let's face it, he will go to PCU. Now we have Laura went and told Lucky about Jen Sidwell being in Port Charles. And Lucky just looked. He tried to act like, oh, okay. Mm-mm. Like it didn't phase him. So when Laura left, Liz is like, and Lucky's like, okay, you know what? Let's get back to what we were working on, because they've been calling people, and they've already found 170-something-year-old who didn't have many visitors. She died of a heart attack, so they're on the right road, with their investigation. He goes, let's get back to that. She goes, Lucky, wait. You trying to act like your mother didn't say anything. He held you captive. You tell me how you really feel. And how did it feel what he did? He goes, oh, it was horrible. Um, but Lucky said some things, but he wasn't going, and that's the way Luke was too. He wasn't going to go down that rabbit hole. He's going to handle Sidwell if he needs to, right? If Sidwell leaves Lucky alone, I really don't see Lucky and Isaiah going after Sidwell, which is what Jordan was the one telling Isaiah, and he was shocked. But he wasn't like hit by a bus with it. She goes, she goes, you're taking this pretty well. He said, well, There are a number of very qualified doctors in Port Charles. I don't think he's going to need to take me again. And Jordan just looked at him. He goes, you know, I will have to handle Sidwell if I have to handle Sidwell. And he told Jordan, but quite frankly, I think he's going to leave me alone because what he took me for, he doesn't need here, right? So he has to, hospital called or a patient called, he had to go out to the outer area to take the call. And guess who just trances right into the Metro Court? Sidwell. So Jordan moved Isaiah's drink, not to make it look like she was there with somebody. And she kind of glances at Sidwell and kind of smiles. And he says, "Oh, he's not going to miss that opportunity to go over to a woman. He got want to kiss hands and ooh, right?" And so he knew exactly who she was. And he goes, James Sidwell, or something she said. And he goes, "Oh, it's nice to finally talk to you, Deputy Mayor." He goes, "I'm sure the mayor has told you all about me." And Jordan says, "Oh, yes, we've talked about you, but I have my own mind and I believe in forming my own opinions on people. Now, tell me, why portray, she just says, what's your business here?" And he goes, "I find rare things that are hard to find." And he's looking at her like, "Ooh, you're a rare beauty." That sleazeball, right? She goes, "Oh, really?" And so she's just letting him talk. She's trying to read him. And midway through their conversation, Isaiah comes from around where he was talking on the phone and he sees Sidwell talking to Jordan. And we don't get to see, they haven't got tomorrow, it'll probably be what he says to Sidwell once he walks over to them. Because I don't think his personality is the type that, because he knows Jordan's working Sidwell. He could tell by Jordan's persona with Sidwell. He could, but I think he'll make his presence known. We'll see. We'll see. Will he let Jordan deal with her lead or will he interrupt it? That's going to be interesting to see tomorrow. Then we have Dante. Lulu talks to Dante. Boy, did I fast forward that. You know, he was trying to explain what she walked in on. She goes, "You don't owe me an explanation." And then when I stopped fast forwarding, I heard him say, "Lulu, I could confide, not Lulu, I could confide in Brooklyn because she's not involved. She's not who I was spending time with instead of Sam during Sam's final days." And she goes, "That's because you were in the hospital visiting me." He said, "Yeah." And he says, "Lulu, do not get me wrong. I do not blame you for Sam's death." He says, "But I wished I would have spent more time. There's so many things I wanted to do with Sam. And I chose something else, you know?" And so they had a good talk. And he was just point blank on, the vacations he wanted to take her. You could tell he loved her. And they were going to take the kids, family trip to Italy. I mean, just, and it kind of, you could see the tears in Lulu's eyes because it was cutting her like a knife. And I said, "Ooh, Dante, keep going." Because she needs a dose of reality. Keep going. So anyway, she goes, "I understand, Dante, that I can't be the one right now that you confide in. Because I understand that, it's Brooklyn right now. You live with her." She says, "But when the day comes that you want to talk to me, you want to confide in me, you know where to find me." And he goes, "Yes, I do." So that conversation, that was pretty much it. um oh, Brooklyn is at the Metro Court talking to her mother. If they don't, if I'm telling you, I'm sick and tired of hearing them talk about this baby situation. Now, after talking to Dante, after consoling Dante, Brooklyn says she can't throw that on him because she would have to tell him. She's telling Chase she's gonna have to tell him, right? And they're all living under the same roof. So anyway, Lois was secretly happy when she goes, I'm not gonna put this on Dante right now. I'm not. He's at a breaking point, and that he doesn't need. She goes, now I do know the day that my baby was born on. And I'm thinking, you haven't guessed Gio's birthday, right? It's gonna be the same day. And Lois just looks. But when she says, I'm just gonna leave it alone right now, and Lois kind of, you could see a relief in her, but she's still trying to, she goes, Brookie, whatever, I can't get her accent, whatever you want, no, I'm 100% behind, but behind you, whatever you choose to do. So she goes, I know, Ma. Thank you so much. I know, I know. So we've got the last thing I'm gonna talk about is Emma. Can't stand her. She is at the place, the little young place that Stella introduced to Trina and Joss. She's there, and Maxie walked in, trying to tell her, look, let me tell you about the 101, living with Anna Devane 101. And she goes, then your mother and my grandmother put you up to accidentally bumping into me to tell me, she goes, let me tell you something. You going about this all wrong. See, you lived with boring doctors in California. Your grandmother is not boring. Your grandmother is a thinking, I forget what other word she used. And so Emma says, a spy. She goes, that's right. She is, almost like exciting. She knows what's up. And I'm thinking, you ain't explaining Anna. But anyway, she goes, and she knows when a person is lying. Emma, I'm telling you, you are going down the wrong road with your grandmother. So Sasha shows up. And so she goes, oh, hey, Sasha, come on. Because Maxie told Sasha to meet her there. And Maxie looked at Emma and said, Emma, go sit at another table. She talking to Emma because Maxie's way older than this girl. She talking to her, go sit at another table. And Emma just looks at her. So she gets up and she goes to another table, and Sasha sits there. She's talking to Emma. I mean, Maxie. And Maxie tells her there's a rumor that Jason is the baby's father. And so Sasha says, wait, what? She goes, how could that get started? She goes, well, it is started and it's out there, and I want to make sure you know about it. And there's Emma, because she went up to where the DJ was and she heard that there's a rumor that Jason's the baby's father, which I could have swore she had already gotten wind of that rumor because Gio can't hold water, right? And Sasha said, people need to mind their own business. Who my baby's father is nobody's business but my own. And Maxie says, but one thing I'm noticing is you're not dispelling that rumor. One word from you could, you know, negate the rumor. And she goes, tell me. You're not saying he's not the father, and then you're talking to me. And she goes, and Maxie, not even you. I don't have to justify or tell who the father of my baby is. It's not even your business. And Maxie said, okay, fair enough. but I'm just telling you it's out there. So now Emma gets back to the table telling Geo. No, Geo didn't know that the rumor was Jason's the father. Emma comes back, so she didn't hear from Geo. She heard it over. He goes, "Were you eavesdropping on their conversation?" She goes, "Oh, and what I heard, Sasha's father, baby's father, is Jason Morgan. Ooh, Jason and my mom were best friends when they were young. I gotta call and tell my mom. Ooh, ooh, I gotta tell my grandpa." And Gio's like, "Wait. For one thing, you don't even know that that's true." No, yep, it is true. And oh, this is big. Oh yeah, I gotta. Well, no, wait a minute. Maybe I'll just tell my mom. She could tell my grandpa. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. And Gio said, "I think you may have this all wrong because I was there when Sasha told the entire family." He says, "I saw the look on Jason's face. He was just as surprised as we all were that she was pregnant. So I don't think he's the father. Nope, he could have been playing it cool. He could have been." And so Gio's just like, "Oh my God." And he's just kind of looking at her like, "You know what? You're messy." He was just like, "Oh, I don't like this mess." Right? So anyway, she still got it focused. She's getting ready to make some phone calls. And I'm thinking, girl, you do you. And I think this is going to be why Sasha's going to end up going with the fact, not dispelling the fact that Jason's the father. And Jason's going to be Jason and say, "You know what? If I am, it's none of your business. We don't know. I don't owe you anything, any explanations." That'll be Jason because he's already on his way to Germany to speak to Michael. When, let's think about that, everybody. Couldn't he have just FaceTimed? If he could go to Germany to speak to Michael, wouldn't it have been easier to FaceTime him? But what, I guess he wants some privacy because if he was being FaceTime, somebody would have to hold the cell phone or the iPad to FaceTime. I don't know. I'm thinking, goodness, you're just jumping on a plane, going to a whole nother country just to have a conversation. But okay, right? Okay. So anyway, everybody, that was it. That was it for General Hospital today. Um, let's go to comment corner. Let me get my little trusty dusty comment corner. Okay, today I'm going to go from the middle. I just let the mouse scroll, let it stop, and I'm going to go from the middle down. And I'm setting my stopwatch. And here we go. We have Blueberry Sherry says Cody telling Sasha's business to anyone, but kept a secret from his best friend, to anybody, but kept a secret from his best friend for 20 plus years. I know. There is no way he would have kept that secret from Brooklyn. I mean, of Brooklyn's. He wouldn't have. He would have told his best friend Dante. I am says jealousy. Cody is not ready for Jason's hands. Blueberry Sherry said to I am, you are so right. Melody says, I think Lois went away with Brooklyn anyway, till the baby. I would think so too. Cody only knew BOQ from camp. He seen her the following summer like usual. BOQ was back and forth between Brooklyn and Pine PC, Port Charles, during her childhood. Did Brooklyn have an ongoing relationship, even uh, just best friends with Dante since they were young? Olivia and Ned are going to be furious. Then Sonny, Carly, and Dante, sweet baby Jesus. A lot depends on those ongoing, long time relationships, but still. And then he says, but I would love, after all the mayhem this causes, all these families, um, and Geo turns out to be Cody's, that would be crazy. But no, they never said it. But let's not talk about the one time we were together. They didn't say that at all. And Lulu will be out of bounds still. Just because BOQ and Dante slept together, oh boy. Then Emma and Gio are cousins. He he. Now let's think about that. Dante is not related to any Cirillo. Dante is a Falconeri. Sonny is not related to the Falconeris or the Cirillos. Olivia, you're right. Olivia, no, I don't know that the Cirillos are they actually family? Because Connie was a Falconeri. Connie and Olivia were cousins. I don't know that Lois and Olivia are cousins. They're just best friends. I don't think the Cirillos and the Falconeris, there's any blood in that line. Those families just are strong families, I think. Comment corner, y'all can update me on that, but that's what I'm thinking, right? And then Lucy says, thanks for all you do, Daily Recap Lady. Thank you, Lucy. Just K says, GH rewrites needs to make sense. This Brooklyn Dante having a child, giving up the baby is messy. So we know it's Geo. So Ned and Tracy will be upset because of the secret and also having a Q and Corinthos child. Lois and Olivia will be at each other since will be at each other since they're best friends. Yes, they are. How could you not tell me? I know that bad writing. Cody somehow knowing something and nothing. This storyline is ridiculous and it's not making sense. I feel fans can make a better storylines than this. It is. I don't like the writing because remember, no. Remember Cody said, "You came to me and you asked me to take you you told me and you asked me to take you to the bus station." I mean, it made no sense how he knew because Brooklyn told him. And then he says, and I didn't see you for a year later. How did she come to him? Because Cody was raised somewhere else on some property, right? By the help. He was one of the kids of the help or whatever. Anyway, no, it makes no sense. They only saw each other at camp. So how could she come to him and he took her to the bus station? I don't like that. So Melody says to Jess K, Cody being the dad of Geo can. What do you mean? What do you mean makes sense? And it would make Emma and Geo cousins and make Mac have another grandchild. Now let's think about it. No, it would not make Emma and Geo cousins because Dante and Brooklyn are not related to the Scorpios at all. They're not related. So Emma would not be related to Geo if Geo is Brooklyn's son. She would not. And then Melody says, light bulb moment. I bet Kai ends up at the wellness center and maybe later running the wellness center, maybe helping others will make him see how lucky he is that he wasn't paralyzed. Maybe after a drug addiction storyline. Ooh, I hope they don't go that route. Um, I hope not steroids or woman beating. Hey, is Drew on steroids? I don't know. Melody says Curtis would take Kai down. Kate Drew would take Drew down. Oh, when Drew asked him to go. And remember, Drew doesn't remember being a Navy SEAL or an assassin because he was hypnotized. So he said, and remember when they put Drew's chip or somewhat in Franco's head. I don't remember that. Uh the Drew personality of the Naval SEAL, that was when the Cassadines got him. Drew it was a narcissist and a whatever that stars are in the middle of there. He was so rude to Liz. I'm glad that Kim raised Oscar alone. So we're skipping to Julian. Oh, but she was with Drew. That's right, because we didn't know really was it Drew's or Julian's kid. So maybe this Drew got his original memories back, the man he really was to begin with, before the whole Jason Drew twin crap happened to him. So I mean, he made Franco as Drew speak like a jerk. I was so glad when Franco got his memories back. See, yeah, I don't, somehow I'm forgetting all of that, or maybe I don't think that was important to me. Melody says they should do either steroid path or painkiller path for Kai. That's been a while since I said Sasha. I think Sasha for a drug storyline. I don't think they. I don't. I hope they don't do another drug storyline. I hope not. It's better than dead babies and infertilities. Drug abuse can be a growing and learning thing. The baby stuff is just sad. No, I think it'd be just sad if he Kai went down the whole drug abuse storyline. No more sad baby stuff. A lot of women like me live with sad baby stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've had a miscarriage. A lot of us have had miscarriages, and everybody, I'm one of them. Sometimes, um, not often, the sad baby stories are catalyst or cathartic, 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 and gives you info. Mhm. So sad babies and animal stories are just too heartbreaking. Thank you. I just had to vent. Well, no, that's what Comment Corner's for. You can vent. You can vent. But you notice they really don't have sad animal stories on soaps because animals are too expensive to have on set and they're too non-predictable. I mean, as a matter of fact, Cody lives above the stables, right? You notice you don't see any horses in there anymore. Horses were expensive, right? And then Melody says, not that I miss Mason or Austin's stupid storyline. Big waste of Franco's character for Austin. Oh, I know. I love Franco and Liz and the boys. Me too. Dad, Scotty, and Lizo and Drew, the old one, and Franco were good buddies. Yeah. That was a stupid move, fun characters, and deep. Yeah, I missed that. The whole Frank. I like the actor. What David Hayworth? Roger Hayworth worth uh, playing Franco. Melody says this. I mean, is it who's gonna take over for Sonny? Is this who's gonna take over? Dante being taken off the case? No, Dante's not gonna turn to the dark side like that. Sam and Dex were murdered. His brother almost murdered the same way. Michael burned in a bomb and a bombing at Sonny's. Dex, Dante's stepsister, BF, and fellow cop was stabbed doing his job, but the cops didn't do nothing. And Cyrus walking around and WTF, I know what that means. The mayor can't even get her own son out of prison. I know. But Cyrus, who put Laura's daughter Lulu in a coma and killed a few other good people, but Cyrus is allowed carte blanche anywhere. And what about Austin and Mason? Not they're just not going to solve that storyline. They really aren't, and I don't know why because that was a waste. The whole who killed Austin. All right, everybody, I'm at 11 minutes for comment corner, so I'm going to go ahead and stop that now. Thank you so much for commenting on Comment Corner. There were more than probably 80 now. It was 78 before I did the recap comments. Keep commenting on each other's comment corners. You all are doing a phenomenal, phenomenal job. And I will be back tomorrow for another daily recap of General Hospital.